All right, guys, now we're going to look at our reading passage for this week. Last week, our reading passage was related to social studies. It was an informational passage related to social studies. And then this week, we are going to be looking at an informational passage related to science. This week's passage is on the solar system. The city you live in is part of a much bigger world, Earth. Earth is part of a large system of other planets, stars, moons, and the sun, known as our solar system. The solar system is about 4.5 billion years old. That is 4,500,000,000,000. So that kind of goes with the place value that you guys have been looking at in math. That's a big number. That's a lot of zeros. There's a lot happening in the solar system. In addition to Earth, there are other planets: Mars, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Each of these planets are vastly different from one another. Planets. For example, while Earth has the perfect climate to support human life, Mercury is too hot and too volatile to support humans that live there. Since Mercury is so close to the sun, the surface temperature can get as high as 800 degrees Fahrenheit. However, the part of Mercury that doesn't face the sun gets very cold, around negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit, because it doesn't have an atmosphere to keep the heat. That's even colder than my classroom gets, guys. Earth has one moon, while Mercury has none. Since it is a small planet and close to the sun, Mercury orbits the sun more quickly than we do here on Earth. While it takes 1 year, 365 days, and actually, guys, it takes 365 and 1/4 days, but since we can't do a quarter of a day, we make it up every 4 years, and that's why we have leap day every 4 years. For Earth to orbit the sun, it takes Mercury only 88 days to orbit the sun. So a Mercury year is the equivalent of about 3 Earth months. Our Earth is full of green forests, blue oceans, large mountains, and deep valleys. Here it's kind of describing Earth, so we see more of a descriptive perspective on our passage. However, none of the planets in our solar system look just like us. Mars is called the red planet and is full of red dirt and rocks. Oceans and rivers once flowed on Mars, but the water evaporated out of the atmosphere. So the only water left on Mars is underground or frozen as polar caps. The planet Saturn is best known for its 7 rings that circle it. And it is also one of the only planets that is not perfectly round. Saturn is mostly a gaseous planet. Because of its fast rotation, it doesn't spin in a perfect circle. As a result, its shape is wider in the middle and more narrow at the top and bottom. Venus has volcanoes, sand, and mountains like Earth. However, it has a very thick atmosphere and close proximity to the sun, making it much too hot to sustain human life. Other parts of the solar system. Besides the planets, the solar system is full of other interesting bodies in space. First of all, there's the biggest star of the show, our sun. The sun is a star, not unlike the other stars that you see in the night sky. However, the sun is the only star in our solar system and is what the planets orbit around. Without the sun, there would be no solar system. There are over 150 moons in the solar system, with Earth having 1 and Saturn having at least 60. To add to the excitement of the solar system, there are various sizes of rocks called asteroids floating in space as well. Asteroids are most like parts of planet or moon formations and are lost into the atmosphere. Asteroids can be very big or as small as grains of sand. They can be similar to rocks or can be made of metal. In our solar system, there is an asteroid belt full of floating asteroids about 250 million miles away from the sun. Asteroids aren't the only interesting objects floating in space. Comets are also known for their tails that often follow them. Comets are made out of ice and dirt and come flying out of the outer parts of our solar system. Finally, meteorites in our solar system, and you may have even, meteorites are pieces of dust or rocks that burn, sorry guys. Finally, meteorites are in our solar system, and you may have even seen one before. Meteorites are pieces of dust or rocks that burn as they enter the Earth's atmosphere. If you take a moment to look up at the night sky on a clear night, you might be able to see one, and you might hear someone call them a falling star. Next time you look up to the sky at nighttime, think of all the millions of things that are happening up there, between many moons, planets full of gas and volcanoes, asteroids and comets. There's a lot of excitement happening beyond our Earth. All right, so guys, now we're going to look at the first question. And here we go back to our inferencing skills that we've been talking about, because it says, what can you infer? There's that big word, which remember, infer means I take what I've read plus what I know, and I put them together to come up with an answer. So what can you infer about Mars based on the information provided by the passage? A says that Mars cannot sustain life because it no longer contains running water. B says Mars is the coldest planet. C says living organisms once lived on Mars but have since become extinct. And D says Mars is the hottest planet. So, going back, what can you infer about Mars based on the information provided by the passage? I would say yes, A. Mars cannot sustain life because it no longer contains running water. That is one thing that I can infer. Because what does all life need to be able to survive? It needs water. All right? So on Wednesday, we will cover numbers 2 and 3. And then on Thursday, we will look at number 4. And guys, I will get you caught up on our bell work for last week as soon as I get back.